Greetings, brethren, and those of the occult community. This has been a very long time coming, but it needs to be said. I want to help people not be deceived by random idiots with a YouTube channel and a Google account to, help you see through megachurch pastor, magician, and the wannabes. So, it may make a few weak sorcerers posture, and it's gonna piss them off. So let's get into it. Here's why I think most Western sorcerers are a fucking joke. If you've seen the previous videos up to this point, you've heard me speak out against magical placation. If you don't know what this is, magical placation is a literal disease I feel corrupts, the works of all sorcerers that rise to fame and power. They dilute the workings of demons, infernals, etc. to reach a higher audience. These entities, like I said before, aren't going to sugarcoat their workings for, mere humans. If you're fucking up or you've set your sights against these infernals, they're going to rebuke you tenfold. There's been this glamorization of demons due to humanity, much like how, the vampiric path is, due to people corrupting their workings due to a weakened world consumed by political correctness. A demonic entity isn't going to tell you you're a special snowflake. They will show you how to rule and make you a true king, like I said before. And that requires certain sacrifice. Lowering the bar doesn't help sorcerers. It makes them lazy as fuck. It's driven by, I gotta put out content as often as I can, and it comes with lies and embellishment on the side of the Western megachurch pastor magician YouTube sorcerer. They start off with this approach of trying to grab people's attention desperately by starting a bunch of fucking drama, then changing it, trying to become humble after they've been fucked thoroughly up the ass by those they've screwed with. In the occult community itself, like the previous sorcerers we've exposed, changing their names like they changed their damn socks. They claim training they've never had. You're going to hear me speak about a lot about this in the Void video as well. Westerners will lie about this, claim they've trained in certain temples or in Haiti, or monks in Yunnan, or Thai monks. This is the reason why these monks hardly allow pictures to be taken anymore, because they'll have some fucking Westerner make a claim, oh, I've trained under them for 20 years, man, and, and then when someone meets this monk, they'll be like, I don't know this person, they're a tourist. You find this commonly among Western martial artists who own dojos. Sadly, they'll have a picture up of them on vacation with a monk, not having been taught or otherwise having no connections. More famous cases, Darrin the Prince, with, claiming never to have spoken to E.A. Coeting, yet his followers, conveniently swept that under the rug. It isn't because of his ethnicity. We know how these things work. The path, it's ancestral, not pack driven. you know and it happens no matter it's always this generation of people that fall for the same scheme. People try to appropriate what can't be appropriated, something to fit into a dogma or system when there isn't such thing. You can't throw the untamable into a blender and attempt to create something new, or simply to earn false renown by corrupting the work, watering it down. It tickles my fancy every time someone try to work with the Loa and claim to be a Bokor like a previous white bread I've exposed. Always a never-ending gimmick for them to make money. So, that's not what the path is about. No, don't get me wrong, sorcerers are notorious for selling their works throughout time, but when it comes to deceiving the masses for profit and giving them no real knowledge, that's where you'll see this with every megachurch pastor I've mentioned. They don't take what they do seriously. When to us, this shit isn't a fucking game. They start slowing down. Quite a few will give up on a path at a certain age, and will have amassed wealth from mindless slaves. They set this flawed precedent, that you can insult the spirits in what they are and be arrogant and lazy towards them due to wanting instant gratification. They lack divine patience that the spirits bestow, and began becoming resentful to the spirits, their mentors, patron, gods and goddesses, you know, upset with the whole path because they can't accept everything won't go their way. Yet, how many of you have seen like a female Wiccan or something in a video saying, "Oh, I gave up witchcraft. They've got to the state where they say they've outgrown their practices, which is bullshit. You don't outgrow witchcraft. You delve deeper until it's perfected. It's a quest for knowledge, unending. If anything, it'll outgrow you if you're too weak to follow through with your path. They'll tell you also there's an easy way to garner your immediate fucking attention to draw upon your lethargic self. This is one of the first signs they're full of shit because they're trying to appeal to the lazy you, the you with the attention span that has of a fucking goldfish. And it's insulting to you as individuals to draw on that sheep-like mob mentality. Most of them are undeserving of the sorcery they've destroyed and poisoned. Now they seek to corrupt the hidden realms with their bullshit, as well. I mean, if you walk into a monastery and claim to be a master towards the black monks in Union, they'd whip your western ass and kick you right out of the fucking monastery. Same with my ancestral family priest. You tell them some shit like that, they collect you. They collect your ass. Walking up to a Varan practitioner, being a random Westerner, saying, "Oh, your ancestors told me this and that," and when we spent our entire lives learning and dedicating it to our paths, and some random YouTube sorcerer who wants to talk about something they don't know jack shit about for notoriety and renown. I've unfortunately had postulates do this same thing, which I've distanced myself from because they just recently stepped on the path and they want to flaunt it like they've learned it all, then go on spreading misconceptions. Now hundreds of people have to suffer because their ego took control and poisoned them. So they'll be all over Facebook for social validation, ego poisoning them further. Thus your own spiritual maturity was just killed. Now spiritual alchemy can't come forward, and you can't undergo your transfiguration, and your apotheosis was halted because your spirit is bleeding, because you wanted attention. So, like I said before, when you hear us speak about social engineering or being a social media fairy, it isn't because we're trying to be indifferent or edgy or be seen as rebels or some shit. It's because we've seen far too many of you fucking up your spiritual alchemy and opening yourself to a harsh spiritual ecosystem online, along with sorcerers, who just won't put up with you, when you think you've gotten your way. Most of the conflict and drama, like with people we've faced, could have been avoided had they just left us the fuck alone and let us teach. You got the self-proclaimed king parasitically having to live off and screw over women just to survive, and that's truly sad because, like most things, it could have been avoided. And picture this as well. If you don't get a picture, you've been a doctor and dedicating your life to the medical practice, and some pissant Westerner says, "Oh well, I looked it up on Wikipedia, and I have a cold," and you find out this dumb son of a bitch has cancer and won't listen to you because of his ego. Same with the Thai monks who'd whip your ass and toss you out of their temple. Many orders like ours think this way. If we get on your ass, it's because you've decided to spread a misconception about our practices. So don't expect that it's just going to be out there. Because you decided to speculate on what you think you know about us for renown. Look at the world today. People denying factual historical events, wiping things, and creating a new history every decade. People actually think Etheris is flat right now, you know. Now, if you recall a game when we all played in public schooling, I'm talking like 2nd or 3rd grade or some shit, you'd sit in a circle and someone would whisper something in someone's ear, and they would tell this story, and the story would always be embellished heavily by the end of it, because there's always that one asshole that wants to spice up the story and telling, guess what it's called? A little white lie. You know, we had some really fucking epic teachers in the past. You know, now it's all fucking trash. But for true masters of their path, lies and embellishments are quite easy to spot with Western YouTube sorcerers. You'll notice this quite often. The most common thing is, oh, I've been practicing, oh, I'm a Bakor, I'm a Nord shaman, now I'm an undead necromancer, now I'm a Viking. You know, all the things the fucking self-proclaimed king of drama and others pull, and when we expose their asses. You know, we don't lie about our training. You know, Somnus doesn't do this, our imperators don't do this, I don't do this, even our disciples don't do this. You know, white lies can taint a nation or bring down a kingdom or culture. You know, you have to be really careful when you're dealing with sorcerers randomly online trying to seek fame rather than spread information. You know, look at every jackass that's stuck on stupid, you know, after all the hearsay and lies got dismantled. All the proof got put out there, and we've got people signing up for the newsletter who are some of the ones who gave these assholes a platform, but look at how many believed it. You know, my point being, go through everything with a razor when dealing with them, especially where it came from, because westernized sorcerers are literally out to just steal people's shit. You know, I'll give 2 examples. We offer the ancestral disconnection rite, which I myself do for people. And we told a story about this on Facebook and put a description of our service under it. You know, when your ancestors deeply oppose your path. And this sorcerer makes a YouTube video for praise and social validation. Literally, in fact, telling the same story, you know, that was told, when this practice itself comes from Tower of Atrophy and Void. You know, it was sad listening to it. Another was Dan Updike in his Imagination Friend or Foe video. It was a lecture I actually gave at Coven a while back, but beyond watered down. You know, when I spoke of void work, imaginative projection, this is why, you know, if you're seeking something, you know, spread your knowledge and copyright it, like everything that I put forth in the videos, because westernized sorcerers will pollute what you've done and you've brought forward. You know, enemies come to watch these videos for information to see what they can use, you know, and it's everywhere. You've got, like, there was a white woman who made basically a do-rag and called it another name and made, you know, millions. You know, there's a boxing instructor who states he invented bobbing and weaving. It's hilarious because people believe it now. You know, you take occult spirituality and you take someone else's shit, especially, you're free ass to whatever sorcery you stole it from. It's why when you see us disabling bullshit about the craft that's been brought forward, you know, you're gonna see them get dicked down, because when some dickhead spreads fallacy about the void and I fucking see it, some shit's gonna pop off immediately. You know, speculatory knowledge is still false knowledge. You know, so you can't constantly do this dumb shit. You know, when we put out the information, you're gonna start looking stupid. You know, this is what Western sorcerers do. Another example would be walking into a new age shop. You know, no matter which one you fucking go to, you'll have some random claiming to be a Reiki master. Each and every fucking one of them, I guarantee. You'll see it everywhere in the U.S. You'll find people complaining of Western corruption, from politics all the way to Western men not wanting to date Western women. And most would deny this kind of corruption. You know, but it's a big fucking problem now, especially in Western sorcery. You know, on this path, you can't do that shit. It won't help you. You know, you gotta realize most of these people are trolls after your fucking money. Rather than help you achieve enlightenment or ascent, It's similar to how pastors and priests went in for the faith in the past. Now it's because of the money. They've diluted their own spiritual knowledge because they set the precedent, exactly for that. Is the reason we have the comments the way they are. Because we won't allow you to speculate and corrupt the work that's been brought forward, like the Western European countries tend to do concerning spirituality and miss the whole fucking picture. So when dealing with spirits, even from the most benign to malevolent, you need to be as humble as a lamb and cunning as a fucking serpent. Because ego, like I said before, makes a very fragile shield, and these people gotta realize war begets war. Chaos begets chaos, and drama begets drama. If you're a rising practitioner, don't fall for the drama hype to earn renown for yourself or your works. Earn it through your merits and your words. Let people feel your energy and state of being. They'll know truth rather than fallacy. They'll see it on your power. So watch out with those with that fucking gimmick mentality. You see the same thing, Somnists, myself, and other sorcerers, we don't pretend to be something they're not. We're not out there claiming to be Bokor, or a Vidki Nordic god or some stupid shit like that. Like, he brought forth this knowledge and he knows what he knows. He didn't seek social validation by taking a bunch of fucking pics on Photoshop, and doesn't try to package old knowledge and throw it into a fucking blender and claim it as new, like New Agers have done with pagan knowledge and sorcery. Because you could look it up this very moment, like 10 different videos of why they, like I said before, outgrew their path. When it became to a point they missed the bigger picture and they were too weak to sustain it. It's a classic mechanism. They steal another form of spirituality without grasping the full picture of the source it came from. Like EA and other people will draw upon the gimmick mentality and say, oh, it's censorship or it's monopolized sorcery. No, people don't like their culture and spirituality being corrupted and misinterpreted by a dabbler. This often happens so much in Western society. It's actually sad, and become accepted. Even Indian spirituality, they've exposed Westerners concerning their energy workings, chakra systems, even the verbiage they use, such as the third eye. You really have to watch out for this, like I said, because it's the mentality of a new age dabbler shop. It's every one of them wants to be that Reiki master and magically placate everyone, to reach a higher audience. If you're seeking out the source, seek it from the original source, because 95% of the time it'll be stolen and corrupted. And they'll tell you all these researchers, anthropologists studied this, but because of greed and ego, there will always be some dickhead wanting to embellish. What's worse and what's sad is people will throw their faith at them like they are, like when they act like Instagram, whores and everything for likes and subscribers. One such instance was quite a few followers of EA tried to commit under a actual Haitian Bokor who had talked about him in the past, stating that he overshadows him and all this other idiocy due to the amount of subscribers he had, which is fallacy. I've seen some of the biggest YouTubers get fucked up and spiritually sacrificed because they chose to misrepresent something. And just like every other jackass who has come at us, you've got to watch out for Westerners also. They're the only ones you gotta put for entertainment purposes only. These are the only ones in culture which they are so ignorant of their own spirituality and ancestry that you have to do it this way. People don't like dealing with, the lies, the lack of understanding, stolen and reverse engineered works. We see so many right now trying to steal our viewpoints, such as seeing through the illusion and instant manifestation, with fantastical views. This just came from someone else that supported us. They can only try and mimic real knowledge or revamp it as their own, or resort to fad writing tactics or fake live rituals. What I mean by this, you can't, especially with live rituals, you can't trust someone when they're trying to perform on camera, because, like I said before, human ego will force them to embellish. The ritual that you're trying to do is being seen. It's similar to a church function where you see the church pastor wave his hand or throw his jacket around the crowd and everybody falls back because they have this embellished expectation of what it's supposed to feel like and be like. Every YouTube occultist or otherwise whom I've seen do this is full of shit. People try and buy into the hype because they're like, nah, these people can't possibly be this stupid, and hype themselves up. While it's corrupting any of the paths they pursue. Like, they'll say some stupid shit like they're the sword of Azazel or some dumb shit like that, or scripted aestheticism using voice modulators to make themselves sound demonic, and people will fucking believe it. Like a megachurch pastor magician I saw tried to use cow tongue to silence and curse his enemy, and it was, put on a show like an actor, and people were like, oh my god, he sounds so demonic. A fucking voice modulator kicks in for dramatic effect. The work you see them do on camera is not the work they do in private. These sorcerers often are the weakest because ego corrupts their rituals, their works. Like I said before, confidence is felt, not seen. These spiritualists have no real power to speak of. It's always a mask due to typical non-existent cultural and spiritual identity. They will always, start to embellish shit or completely be dishonest with you. They'll portray this kind of with fucking image, and have no sense of self-reflection. Or take the aforementioned self-proclaimed king of drama. Went through all these fucking identities, each of them more false, got exposed, even doctored themselves as saying a slogan from a singer, also known as, Ashbourne. Right down to the guy's style, his haircut, the way he dressed. And when it was all called out, he tried to state it was unfair, tried to falsely play the humble role. You have to ask yourself, at what point does personal self-reflection and accountability cross into a wannabe megachurch pastor magician mind? This dude has literally done everything I've been fucking describing in these videos. You can't pretend to be humble, start a bunch of shit, mislead people, and lie to people, and expect it to not get outed. If there's no self-reflection, ego control, there is no spiritual maturity. And if there's no spiritual maturity, there's no spiritual alchemy. Then this person hasn't undergone transfiguration. So how the fuck can this person or individual claim to be a master and claim to teach you about sorcery? You gotta ask yourself that. Don't fall for the mask and the lies, because nobody is untouchable. Such as the self-proclaimed king tried to disrespect myself and soundness on camera using false information and flipping us off and shit, and got decimated. He went from being a tight end to a wide fucking receiver, to try and make peace, and then still tried to stab us in the back. Now look at what he's been reduced to: parasitically living off women, trying to take their followers, praying they don't find out about that background with the generic bullshit of, I've changed. I didn't try and start drama with everyone. I've changed. That's just, that was last month. And still keep trying to talk shit and spread drama. You can't falsely claim maturity after all the shit you've been doing, and a bunch of women expose you like everything's perfect on fucking camera. They'll do anything to try and fucking remain relevant, taking topics they know absolutely jack shit about. If you're trying to gain renown and put your name out there with your sorcery, don't be honest. just be honest with people. Don't do what these people doing. Don't fucking pull a Darrin Taylor. Don't pull an Ashbourne. It'll come back to bite you in the ass when you try and make people your fucking financial cattle. You know, I really hope this will help people steer clear of frauds, liars. You know, if you're an upcoming sorcerer, I hope this helps you avoid these generic fucking mistakes and lies Western sorcerers get themselves caught up in all the time. You know, because some can be really well read, but they'll often regurgitate the knowledge of others and have no real power. You know, so please don't make the same mistakes they've been making. All it's going to do is come back to bite you in the ass, and at the end of the day, a bunch of people are gonna fucking expose you. Like myself, you don't fuck with a mage and seer or someone who knows their ancestral divination. I'll let her out your dirty laundry and let everyone know you've been shitting yourself for years. I'll see you again soon, brethren.